Really observing the people who was in my circle, that's a big thing. Like, I was looking at, are you a liability or are you an asset? If you know I got a business, but you always want me to come out and spend money, you a liability. I mean, that's just that on that, you know? And just really accepting people for who they are. And sometimes that sucks because you can really have somebody that's in your corner that's a day one, but it's like, if they not helping you elevate and get to the next level, then it's like, it doesn't make sense, you know?
How's it going, guys, and welcome to another episode of Secrets of Silent Success. Today we have the one and only Bria Charlise, so we're going to jump right into it, all right? You went from having that full-time job to quitting, I believe, spring 2019,
Yes.
and going full-time into that entrepreneurial role.
Mm-hmm.
What type of sacrifices, what type of steps did you have to take to go from that full-time job to making that step into entrepreneurship?
Yes, so I had to I had to make a lot of sacrifices. Of course, the main was financial sacrifices, but then also like your time. Being an entrepreneur coming from a 9 to 5, like you have that comfort, you know, like that check is gonna come in every 2 weeks, you know. Entrepreneurship, you don't know when it's gonna come, you know, so it's just like, I had to really put in the work to, really plant the seeds so that way I can harvest what I'm trying to harvest now and beyond. But the sacrifice I had to make, really, like I said, from a financial standpoint, if you can't tell, I like to keep myself up. One of the hardest things was I had to really get clear on what was going to be my survival number. So my survival number, I wrote down like, what are my needs? Like, you know, those are the bills that you have to pay for. So I wrote those down, and then I looked at the wants. Like the wants is nails done, different stuff like that. So I was just more so thinking like, okay, something gotta go from these wants. So I think it's good sacrifices, it's temporary sacrifices to get to where you're trying to go. So sometimes you may have to miss out on that girls trip or the night out with your friends at Uptown, different stuff like that to get to where you need to be. So I would say it was worth it.
Got you. So from that lack of financial security, sound like it was some apprehension there,
Yes.
going from that full-time 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship. How did you overcome that initial apprehension and dive on in?
So I won't forget, it was April 19th, it was a Friday, 2019. I remember it was the last day of my job, and once I quit and I got into my car, I'm like, okay, so what do I do now? I just started getting really like overwhelmed. I was getting hot. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I make the right decision? I didn't tell none of my family members. I think I told like my best friend and like my other friend, Brooke. They were like the only two people that really knew I had quit my job. Like, Mama, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, I wasn't lying. But, you know, like I was telling my family I was going to work, but I really was going to work, like, but for my own business. So I would go to the library. I would go to like co-working spaces. So it's like quitting a job, I really didn't know what was to come. But then that's when I had to really tap into my word, because I'm spiritual, and tap into that faith side and really trust God. And I've been going so far, so.
Got you. So, as you said, you were going to the library. No one was forcing you to do that. No one was pushing you to do that. Where did that drive come from internally to do that?
Well, for one, my bank account was dwindling, so I was like, I need to make some money. And then two, I feel like every great person or every leader or whatever, they always have a mentor. You know, like I hired a business coach, I had a mentor, which is a difference. And so, you know, they was helping me along the way, but then I always had that drive, like, okay, so what I did was, like, when I would go, I started writing down Mondays will be for marketing. You know, Tuesdays will be for content creation. Wednesdays for finances, you know. Other days might be following up with clients or figuring out how I'm going to find clients, you know. So I just had to get kind of creative. So that way, I still set my alarm at 8 at the latest. I still wanted to keep that routine. Like, just because I quit my job, you couldn't be sleeping in, eating hot Cheetos and Netflix and then chilling, you know. Like, you really had to. It's actually harder when you quit your job and you're working for yourself, because you have to do everything yourself, versus you could be on the clock at a 9 to 5 eating hot Cheetos and Netflix and you still gonna get paid. I mean, I don't know, maybe everybody do their job.
So, you have a lot of experience in men's fashion, right? And I know you said that was kind of a happenstance. Take me through that, how you end up getting into men's fashion.
Yes, so when I was at Nordstrom, that was summer 2016. I started off as an intern. And when I was there, I just remember they put me in men's suiting. And I was like, oh, that's not what I signed up for. You know, because they ask you your top 3 departments. Menswear wasn't even in the top 3 for one, let's just be clear. But then I was like, okay, I'm going to be in men's like denim pants, stuff like that. That's easy. You know, like I got a good eye for detail, colors, patterns, and stuff, putting that merchandising degree together.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I don't know none of this. Like, how am I supposed to know how a suit is supposed to fit? I don't know how to size people, different stuff. So it was challenging at first because I was the youngest in my department and I was Black. So I had all of those 3 and I was just really honestly defeated because I was, well, kind of defeated but a little intimidated because the people that been there, they've been working in that department longer than maybe we've been born. So it's like, you know, when customers come in, I'm like, hello, welcome to Nordstrom. My name is Bria. Is a boot here? Hey, is Corey here? And I'm like, I can help you too, you know? So it's like they've been having their regulars for a long time. But what I did was I had to talk with my mom and she was just like, you already know this is your lane. This is your niche. She was like, the only difference is it's menswear and the product assortment is different. So when she was telling me that, we was talking, I was like, that's true. So let me put my degree to use, this high degree I just paid for all these loans. Let me put that to use. Let me put my luxury retail experience. And then I started thinking, okay, well, I am a woman and I work with menswear. So let me put on these little Louis Vuitton Michael Kors dresses I used to wear with my heels because majority of the time guys want to see the opposite sex. And, you know, I feel as though I'm pretty, so let me use my charisma a little bit to reel them in. So I started, like, thinking like that, and then I started, like, really going over, like, the product assortment at Nordstrom. Nordstrom carries a lot of products that was sort of different from me working at Louis Vuitton and Michael Kors and those other stores because they carry just that brand, you know? But working at Nordstrom, they had an assortment of brands, so when I would get off, I would get on a website. I wanted to be familiar with Nordstrom.com because some of the brands are different from in-store. I was having the guys that work in the other departments, I need you to try this on, baby, because I need to know how this is going to fit. You know, like, I'm a very inquisitive person. I ask a lot of questions. So, and I'm visual, and with me not being a guy, it's hard for me to be relatable to that guy or that client if I'm not a guy. So I can't be like, oh yeah, those 32, 34s and the Nordstrom slim fit. Hey, you know, I'm not even a guy. You know what I'm saying? But I'm visual. I know he is similar to you, so I know how it's gonna fit and complement you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry that was a long drawn answer.
No. But what I hear from that is you made the most of those circumstances. It was an obstacle when you first got, hey, that's not on my top 3. I don't know nothing about men's clothing, but you then took the initiative to go out there and learn this brand, learn this arena, and then put it to good use. Like, what was your thought process? What made you want to go and say, hey, I'm gonna make the most of the situation, and actually then became successful in styling men?
Right, at that point, I was just trying to make money.
Money's a good motivator though.
Yeah, but at the time, I'm just being transparent. Like, I needed to make money. It's commission-based, you know? Like, I'm in here with a whole bunch of dogs. And when I say dogs, I don't mean in a bad way. Like, they hungry, you know? Like, they really like some sharks out there, you know? So I got to put my big girl panties on and I got to come with it, you know? Like, and I was just like, I have to step it up, you know? Like, I can't be the, do you need help? I'm like, no, like, make yourself known. Like, hey, I can do this just as well as they can do that. Just give me a shot, you know?
So you talked about having a niche when starting a brand. So you have started a successful clothing brand. Give me some tips for other people who it's a lot of people that want to go into fashion, who want to start brands, or who have started brands, but it hasn't taken off the way that they thought it would. What are some tips that have implemented that has been successful to get your brand up and running?
I would say, like, find something that you really enjoy. I feel like sometimes people get caught up in keeping up with the trends, where it's like you kind of get lost in the trends and you kind of lose your identity in that. I don't keep up with the trends. I do what I like and what I know my target audience will like. So I kind of factor both sides in that. I go off with the trends. I do my trend forecasting and different stuff, like seeing what the trends will be in the upcoming seasons, the colors, all of that. But a lot of that stuff, my inspiration comes from culture, like music, traveling. I can be driving in a car and I see a tree and I get inspired by a collection. I want to do something like earth tone and like leaves and stuff like that. And it just comes together. So I always just tell people, do what you want to do. And I always tell them too, like, stay the course. It's not going to take off like that. I want to become a household name and I will become a household name, so that's how I look at myself. And I always tell people too, it's more so like a mental thing. And a lot of times I know with working with other stylists and people that's coming up from a stylist perspective, they get caught up in the creating and different stuff like that. But I always tell them, you have to know the business. That's another thing. You could be as creative. You could put all these fabrics and nice, dope stuff, and your marketing could be on point. But if you don't understand the business behind it, you don't know your numbers, different stuff like that, you won't stay relevant, if that makes sense. Because that's the biggest part. Like, all that is cute on social media, but what are your numbers like? Are you able to reach your sales revenue and make a profit? That's the main thing, because if you're not making no profit, you're not a business, you're just a hobby.
There you go.
So it's like, I don't know, that's just the way I think about it. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave it at that, because they're gonna be like, girl, you just keep going. But yeah.
So you talked about building a brand with longevity, right? What is your 5-year plan for your brand? What do you see your brand personally and for your clothing companies in the next 5 years, and how are you strategically working to accomplish those goals?
I honestly don't know, to be honest, and the reason I say I don't know is when I set a goal for myself, I sometimes can accomplish that goal in 2 weeks. I can accomplish it in a few months. I can accomplish it in a quarter or a year. So it's just like, honestly, this is just my opinion. I try not to put where I'll be in 5 years, because I feel like I'm putting a limit to where I can go, if that makes sense. And honestly, I really don't know where I would be. Like, things are changing. Like, look at COVID. I had to pivot my whole business. So it's kind of hard to say where I will be in 5 years, but I know I'll be doing something great.
There you go.
And you're going to see me on the TV screen or something. You just never know, So I know whatever it is in the 5 years, it'll be something great. I'll be way further than where I am now. And yeah, just continue to aspire and just have fun and stuff.
Yeah, I do like what you said, that you don't want to put a limit on your potential. So what is your approach to goal setting, to making those leaps in success? How do you approach that?
I'm big on manifesting, and the power of the tongue is real. So like I said, like when I write something down, I'm big on writing something down. When I get that idea, I always think of God as planting that seed in my head to do something, especially when I keep getting the same idea. So I'm like, let me write that down. And I'm big on speaking it out loud, like how I said just a few minutes ago, I will be great, or I will be on TV. Like, I'm big on doing things like that. So I think that's what helps me, like, with goal setting.
Cool. So you talked about when you were at Nordstrom, how some of the other associates were older. They were of a different race. What type of challenges have you faced, not only as a Black female in the industry, but as a young Black female in the industry?
I feel as though, like, I've experienced challenges such as, like, age discrimination, of course, race, with me being Black, and even gender. Being in the menswear industry, it's a very ego-driven. It's a lot of men in that industry. So with me being, like, fairly young, they kind of look at me as like, what do you know? And it's just like, I may be small and petite and stuff like that, but I'm really like, I come with the heat for sure. So I would say I've experienced those type of challenges. But as far as, like, I would say just like the discrimination part, but not really, like, I feel as though when people, they see me, they respect me, or I've come across a lot of good people, especially in my industry, that's willing to help. And even I feel as though, like, I've experienced more positives than negatives. But sometimes you do, like, when I go to, like, a trade show or something like that, they looking at me like, are you the assistant for somebody? I'm like, no, I'm the owner. Let me get my badge, please. So Yeah, I just think like Black women, we doing the dang thing, you know, like we breaking barriers, and I'm like, hey, the sky is the limit. Well, beyond the limit, you can do anything you want to do. So yeah.
Got you. Now you talked about Black women doing awesome things, breaking those barriers. I know you had a pop-up shop recently where you invited a lot of Black-owned businesses. To you, what's the importance of Black enterprise, Black equity, and Black ownership?
Yeah, so I always like to just pour back into other entrepreneurs and other small businesses and other Black businesses. Even from a styling perspective, I try to shop with my Black-owned companies first and then go to like the Nordstroms and different stuff like that, because I mean, hey, circulating that dollar and keeping it in the community is what's important to me, because I would want somebody to do the same for me.
Sure.
As I continue to grow, I want others to grow with me. Like as I continue to climb up the ladder of success, like I'm reaching my hand back like, come on, sis, or come on, you know, like I want y'all to come with me. Like I'm not that type of person, so.
Got you. So not only are you doing things in the fashion area, you also are doing things in the nonprofit area. Can you tell me a little bit about the Charles E. Whitaker Foundation?
Yes, so the Charles E. Whitaker Foundation, or Charles E. Whitaker Jr. Foundation, is in honor of my dad, who was killed due to gun violence back in 2008. And I just created that in honor of his memory and to just have something that would carry on after I'm gone. I was my dad's only child, and with me being a girl, you know, like once I get married, I might not have my last name Whitaker anymore. Wow. I would like to keep my last name with his, but I don't know. Worry about that when that time comes. But worst case scenario, if I don't keep my last name, I still have something where it can carry on from a family legacy on his side. And then my future kids, they can, you know, carry on their brand. So the nonprofit focuses on youth mentorship in Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex and gun violence awareness. So it was just really dope to come together, and a lot of people can relate to gun violence more than what I thought. Because most people think gun violence, they think homicide, but that could be suicide, that could be domestic violence. Sure. All of that can be factored into gun violence. So we have some stuff coming up in June, so make sure y'all get ready, okay? Year 3, it's lit.
Got you. So in a recent Instagram post, you talked about the importance of inspiring others. You said other people's life is dependent on your acts of service. We were just talking about the foundation, and also what you're doing, you know, being a role model. So tell me, how are you inspiring others, and how are you inspiring yourself?
I would say I'm inspiring others by just me being me, you know, walking in my purpose, figuring out, I have to analyze who I am. One thing my daddy used to always tell me is always be Bria. Nobody can be Bria more than you can be you, basically. But that sounds good when you tell people just be you. But sometimes what I've noticed in this world, a lot of people don't even know who they are, you know, like, and that's adults too. So what I had to do a lot of soul searching. I had to really get isolated, not in a bad way, but really be in that solitude to really understand who I was as a woman, as an entrepreneur, you know, as a child of God. Like I said, I'm very spiritual, and I had to really just hone in and tap into my word, and that really helped me develop what my purpose is, and I'm still figuring out what my purpose is. But I think by me just being me, and a lot of people seeing my journey and seeing my testimony and me just being myself, I think that inspires people, because people say they get inspired by me because they see me staying consistent. They see me like doing the things that I set out to do. You know, it's not even about looking cute. That's material stuff. Forget all that. I'm talking about like the heart stuff, the internal stuff. That's the stuff that matters. So if I know I'm inspiring people and I'm helping people by me just being myself, being authentic, showing love, helping others, like what I said, like giving back, I know that I'm doing what I need to do on this earth, you know. That's what keeps me going, honestly. When I know I'm doing that and I'm seeing people act out on their purpose, or I'm plugging them in and helping them with stuff and they're doing it, that inspires me to keep going. And my personal testimonies and trials and tribulations keep me going as well. Because I'm like, dang, I went through that, like losing a parent at 13 due to gun violence and police brutality. You know, like, that's a lot. A lot of people can't like really hone in on that. You know, that can affect people for life, but just seeing me persevere, that keeps me going, because I'm like, sis, you done been through a lot. but you're still continuing going. You're not making excuses. You're not feeling sorry for yourself. Like you're continuously go. Even when I don't know, I ask questions or I'm just figuring it out. Just like all of us in here, you know, we just figuring it out as we go, taking it a day at a time. So that's just me. Hopefully I answered that question.
Good. And I think it's just important, like you said, to find yourself. So I was just trying to figure out what are some of the steps that you were taking to help find yourself.
Like I said, just spending some of that time alone. Like I said, reading books, reading my Bible, really observing the people who was in my circle. That's a big thing. Like I was looking at, are you a liability? Or are you an asset? If you know I got a business, but you always want me to come out and spend money, you a liability. I mean, that's just that on that, you know? And just really accepting people for who they are. And sometimes that sucks because you can really have somebody that's in your corner that's a day one, but it's like if they not helping you elevate and get to the next level, then it's like, it doesn't make sense, you know? So that's a part of the solitude. You start figuring out, like once you go through a lot of experiences and you go through life, you're kind of like figuring things out like, okay, well, I need to maybe hang with a different crowd, or I need to be with people that's more like-minded like me. Maybe my significant other needs to have this or that. You know, it's like, even when it comes to guys, like from a romantic relationship, it's just like, we are not aligned at all. So it's like, that's a part of being in solitude and figuring yourself out. Like, if I know I'm going up here and not knocking like a guy, but if he's still down here or he not doing nothing to elevate me, but I'm elevating him, that's no balance, you know? So learning that type of stuff, it's like, I really feel like those experiences kind of teach you that type of stuff. So, yeah.
Got you. It sounds also a lot like priorities. To understanding, and you talked about even when you were sacrificing, like, hey, maybe I don't need my nails, but I do need my feet. Maybe I don't need the hair. Maybe I do need my lashes. When you're talking about, hey, I don't have a consistent paycheck. How do you prioritize what you need? Because I feel like a lot of times when you don't have those priorities, you can get really lost, especially when we're young and trying to start a business, trying to, you know, develop our professional careers.
It's hard because our generation we get so caught up in the social media. You know, and sometimes I'm victim of it, but sometimes you have to like quiet the noise. Like that's a part, like I said, go back to solitude. Like if you follow a lot of people that have a lot of stuff that you want or different stuff, sometimes you can get caught up in that comparison. You know, you like, dang, why I'm not further? Why I'm not this? Why I'm not that? And we all have been, you know, guilty of that. It's like, dang, when my business gonna take off? Or when I'm gonna get 8 figures or 7 figures? You know, and it's just like, it's a time and a place for everything. So it's just like, from a social media perspective, I only follow people that inspire me, make me laugh, and keep me, you know, inspired and motivated. And of course, like, close friends.
Your fashion.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
in fashion too. Yeah, but
yeah, stay trendy.
Yes, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, like, that social media, that will have people, I don't know, like I said, you gotta quiet the noise for sure and find like a good balance and a good median and substitute things. Maybe get off social media for the rest of the night and read a book. Or watch, I watch Nipsey documentaries sometimes, you know, during the day. If I just need a break, I'm like, instead of scrolling on social media, it's not giving me any substance. Like, let me get motivated. I may feel off today, you know, or sometimes I go to my safe haven. My safe haven is my dad's gravesite. And I like that because I get to connect with nature and I don't have any distractions. I leave my phone in the car. I got my little chair. I read me a little devotion or a little book, or I listen to music that we both like really enjoyed growing up. And I just get to like tone stuff out. And honestly, when I'm there, I get my best ideas, straight up. My best ideas because I don't have any distractions, you know? So, yeah.
A lot of what I'm hearing is delayed gratification. Right, you talk about that social media, keeping up with the Joneses and things like that. How do you delay that gratification?
I just be honest and realistic with myself. Like, I just try to stay in my own lane. When you stay in your own lane, you mind your business, drink your water. You don't have no issues, you know? It's like, I ain't trying to be like him. I'm not trying to be like her. I'm just trying to be like Bria, you know? Like, I just do me. I just stay in my own lane. Like, God made me unique for a reason. He made you unique for a reason. So don't do what I'm doing over here, and I ain't gonna do what you doing over there. You know, so it's like just stay in your lane, drive your speed limit, mind your business, and we good to go. So I feel like if the world did more of that, we'll be A-okay. But that's another story, another combo.
Facts. Last thing, for young Black women out there who aspire to be a successful entrepreneur, what's one word of advice do you have for them?
I would say always be inquisitive, always ask questions. Never think a question is too dumb or anything like that. That's how you learn, by being inquisitive. Always be a lifelong learner too. Like, be a student of the game. I don't care if you in logistics. I don't care if you want to be the next astronaut. I always learn something. You can learn from anybody. I can learn from anybody in the room. I don't care if you 4 years old or if you 44 or 84. I can learn from everybody in the room because it's all about your perspective, you know? So I will always, that's what I would say, be a lifelong learner, like be a student of the game. And just find your lane, you know, like kind of piggybacking on what I said at the beginning, like be you. Like, if you're an introvert, don't try to be an extrovert. You have to be an extrovert if you have a business sometimes, you know, but just do what you like. And people, if you're being authentic to yourself, people are going to naturally gravitate towards you. Like myself, like my personality is like a magnet. Like, people gravitate towards that. So it's just like, you just have to be you, and people like that part. So yeah.
Awesome.
That's what I would say.
Anything else you want to share?
Can I give my social media handles?
Yeah, you got it. You got it. So where can they find you at? You got it.
Okay, so y'all can find me at Instagram. I am Bria, Bria Charlise, Charlise. So yeah, stay tuned, guys.
Cool. That's a wrap.
Okay, thanks.
Give it a follow.